Okay, fine. So we are going to discuss a few of the international organizations which are working in the field of conserving and preserving the biodiversity. So that is a very important organization that is called as World Wildlife Fund. So World Wildlife Fund is an organization which was working for the WWF. Earlier, it was named as World Wildlife Fund, but now it has been what you can say renamed as a World Wildlife Fund for Nature. That is what is the name which is will remain for the WWF. And this is again one of the we can say the largest organization in the world which is working for the preservation and conservation of the preservation and conservation of the wildlife in India. So WWF India is also there, right? So every in every country they have their branches and their what you can say they try to collect some funds, and with the help of that fund they do research they research, and they also what you can say uh, give awareness program for the conservation of the wildlife that is explained here. So let me check it out.
Chandrasekhar, can you please mute yourself?
Bagisha, am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, so the Worldwide Fund for Nature, which is a new name for the WWF. Earlier, it was only called as Worldwide Fund, but now it is called as Worldwide Fund for Nature. So why? Because now it is not only focusing only on the wildlife; it is also focusing on the nature as well. So WWF is an international non-governmental organization that you need to remember, founded in 1961, that works in the field of वाइल्डरनेस प्रिझर्वेशन. वाइल्डरनेस म्हणजे काय, जंगलीपणा जो आहे त्याला मेंटेन करण्यासाठी ते केले जातात. सो इन द फील्ड ऑफ वाइल्डरनेस प्रिझर्वेशन and the reduction of the human impact on the environment. So they are trying to reduce the impact of human activities on the environment, anthropogenic activities on the environment, right? So it was formerly named the World Wildlife Fund, which remains its official name in Canada and the United States. So WWF is the world's largest conservation organization. This is very important. What is the fact you need to know that it is one of the largest conservation organization, over 5 million supporters worldwide, and working in more than 100 countries and supporting around 3,000 conservation and environmental projects. So in India also we have a branch of the WWF which is called as WWF India. They have around $1 billion or in more than 12,000 conservation initiatives since 1995. WWF is a foundation with 55% funding from individuals and bequests and 19% from the government sources. Even government also, what I can say, governmental sources also give funds to the worldwide fund that is for WWF, such as World Bank, DFID, and USAID. So World Bank also gives some of the funds to the WWF because they are expert in this field. So World Bank gives some of the what you can say funds to the WWF in their conservation efforts. So it aims to stop the degradation of the planet's natural environment and to build a future in which many humans live in harmony with the nature. This is the aim of the WWF. The Living Planet report has been published every 2 years by WWF since 1998. So the question can be asked in prelims exam that the Living Planet report is published by which of the following organization? So answer is WWF. So you need to know about this. So Living Planet report is published every 2 years after Worldwide Fund for Nature since 1998. It is based on the Living Planet Index and ecological footprint. So we need to know what is this ecological footprint later on. So write it down. What is the meaning of ecological footprint? We will discuss later on. So just add this topic to your list of the topics which you need to study for the environment. So this what you can say, this Living Planet report is based on what you can say the index of the ecological footprint calculations. I will discuss in detail about this Living Planet report, so that you will be able, like if there is any question on this, you will be able to answer that question. So Living Planet report is world's leading science based analysis on the health of our planet and the impact of human activity, humanity's demands exceed the Earth's capacity to sustain us. Like we have already discussed that the Earth has certain capacity of production, certain capacity of giving service, certain capacity of regenerating itself, right? So, but the demands of the humans are in exceeding than the what you can say the rate of the production of the environment, right? So environment अपनी तरह से कुछ चीजें प्रोड्यूस करता है, अपनी तरफ से कुछ चीजों को क्या करता है कि वो रेजुनेट करता है, उसको रिसाइकल करता है. बट हमारा पॉपुलेशन बढ़ता जा रहा है, ह्यूमन पॉपुलेशन इज इंक्रीजिंग अ लॉट, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, we are using the natural resources in a rate more than the rate which our what you can say which our nature can what you can say produce. So that is why they do two indexes. One is the living planet index and another is called as ecological footprints. That is what is explained here. So the earth's capacity to sustain us, that is important. So the 2018 का report में it is mentioned that the 2018 report found that decline of 60% population sizes of vulnerable species overall from 1970 to 2014. So we have seen that from 1970 to 2014, 60% of the population size, that we have already discussed in the ecosystem के population species वगैरह हमने देखा था. So population of the species, population of the various what you can say the vulnerable species are decreased from 1970 to 2014. It is about the vertebrate species. Vertebrate means what? I have already explained this to you. Decrease in the vertebrates. Vertebrate means
the species which are having the backbones.
yes, human being is also the example. But anyways, human being का तो number कम नहीं होता जा रहा है. Human being का तो population बढ़ता ही जा रहा है. But other plants and other other animals which are having vertebrates like tiger, then crocodile, all these are what you can say their population size is decreasing by 60% as per the Living Planet report 2018, right? So the tropics of South and Central America had 89% loss compared to 1970. So South America and Central America have 89% loss compared to 1970, and the 2018 report calls for a new goals post 2020 alongside those of the Convention on Biological Diversity and Paris Climate Agreement and Sustainable Development Goals, right? So do you remember there was a question that is the new goals after 2020 alongside there are three important conventions. What is Convention on Biological Diversity, Paris Climate Agreement and Sustainable Development Goals. So I'm going to discuss about these three things in detail today. So before that we will discuss about this ecological footprint. Why? Because Living Planet report takes into consideration the Living Planet Index as well as the ecological footprint. So we will discuss about this. What is this ecological footprint? Anyone knows what is the meaning of ecological footprint? Okay, here it is mentioned here that the ecological footprint is method promoted by Global Footprint Network to measure human demand on natural capital. Right? What is the human demand? Ecological footprint means what? What our planet can produce and what is the demand of the human beings. So if the demand of the human being is more than what our nature can produce, that can be what you can say calculated with the ecological footprint. Got it? So that is the quantity of the nature it takes to support the people or an economy. That is what is called as ecological footprint. It tracks this demand through an ecological accounting system. Got it? Itna sufficient hai to get the answer. If there is any questions related to this ecological footprint, ye itna sufficient hai. और ये कौन release करता है ये आपको पता होना चाहिए. So the ecological footprint is what you can say method promoted by the Global Footprint Network. So this is an organization which calculates the ecological footprint, and in this ecological footprint, the quantity of the nature it takes to support the people or an economy, that is what is checked, right? So human demand, or what is the human demand, and what is the capacity? What is the capacity of the nature to produce that what you can say the goods and goods or what you can say the services that that is what you can say calculated. Got it? What is ecological footprint? Okay, now going to the Convention on Biological Diversity. So what is this Convention on Biological Diversity? As we have seen, the CITES is a convention for what? CITES is a convention for trafficking of the flora and fauna, like trading of the flora and fauna, or what you can say import and exports of the flora and fauna. There is a convention and agreement by all the countries. Now there is something called CBD, that is Convention on Biological Diversity, known informally as Biodiversity Convention, is a multilateral treaty. So multilateral treaty means what? Many countries have come together to sign this treaty. That is why it is called as multilateral treaty. So it is explained here that a multilateral treaty is a treaty to which 3 or more sovereign states are parties. Each party owes the same obligation to all other parties except to the extent that they have stated reservation. So there are various, what you can say, the multilateral treaties in the world, but the Biodiversity Convention or the CBD is one such multilateral treaty, right? Do we remember that in our constitution there is one article which says that the state shall oblige to, what you can say, the international treaties, whatever the international treaties are signed at the international level, the state should try to, what you can say, oblige those treaties, right? So in which article this guideline is given to the state in DPSP? Anyone knows?
51.
Yeah, Article 51, right? So India has also signed this Convention on Biological Diversity, which is an international treaty, and we have to oblige to the treaties, oblige to the conditions which have been signed in this treaty. So the convention has 3 main goals, including conservation of the biological diversity, then the sustainable use of the components. We need to use the components of the nature, right? We have seen that in the ecosystem there are biotic components and there are some abiotic components, but you need to use those components in a sustainable way. And what is that sustainable way? We have already discussed about it, right? And third goal is the fair and equitable sharing of the benefits arising from genetic resources. So the fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from the genetic resources. Now we know there are certain plants, there are certain animals which is beneficial, which is useful for the human beings, and they are available in a particular area. They are available in a particular, what you can say, the ecosystem. They are available in a particular, what you can say, the region only, right? So we need to share those, what you can say, the biological or natural products, natural, what you can say, the plants and animals. For example, like we know that some of the plants and some of the animals can be used for medicinal purpose, that can be used for aesthetical purpose, that can be used for cultural purpose. So we need to share these, what you can say, the benefits from the genetic resources, right? So that is what is explained here. So 3 important goals of the Convention on the Biological Diversity. In other words, its objective is to develop national strategies for conservation and sustainable use of biological diversity. So we need to use the biological diversity, but we need to use this biological diversity in a sustainable and, what you can say, the sustainable way. That is what is mentioned here. Fine. Now next is, it is often seen as the key document regarding the sustainable development. The convention was opened for the signature at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. So this is again one of the important events at the international level, international, what you can say, the initiatives for the conservation of biodiversity, pollution control and climate change. So this Earth Summit was one of the very, very important event. Now I don't think that question can be asked about this Earth Summit, but आपको पता होना चाहिए. This Earth Summit was held in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro, which was again one of the very, very important event in related to the international efforts to conserve the nature and to fight against the pollution and climate change. So that is famously called as Earth Summit, which was taken place in Rio de Janeiro, that is Brazil. So that was taken in 1992. So that is explained here. You can check it out. United Nations Conference on Environment and Development, that is UNCED, also known as Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit, was taken in the 1992. That is also famously called as the Rio Summit or Rio Conference and Earth Summit, was a major United Nations conference held in 1992. So after that summit, all the countries have come together to, what we can say, fight against this climate change for a sustainable development in that. So the convention was opened for signature at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro on 5th June 1992 and entered into force on 29th December 1993. The CBD has 2 supplementary agreements. One is called as Cartagena Protocol. Do you remember? Was there any questions related to Cartagena Protocol in UPSC, or questions which we have discussed now? Now we have discussed few questions. So we have seen there were match the pair questions, and in that match the pair question they have given CBD is what you can say paired with the Cartagena Protocol. Do you remember, Bagisha? We have discussed this question.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right.
I have.
So
Yes, sir.
okay. So we will. So this Cartagena Protocol and Nagoya Protocol were the part of the CBD, that is the Convention on Biological Diversity. So Cartagena is again a name of a city, and Nagoya is also a name of a city. So we will see about this also later. What is this Cartagena Protocol and what is this Nagoya Protocol? We will discuss about it. So the Cartagena Protocol on biodiversity to the Convention on Biological Diversity. You need to remember that Cartagena Protocol is related to the what you can say the Convention on the Biological Diversity and to conserve the biodiversity. So the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety to the Convention on Biological Diversity is an international treaty governing the movements of living modified organisms, LMOs. So what is these are called as LMOs, living modified organisms. Now there is also something called as GMO. Do you remember what is GMO?
So
Anyone remember?
genetically
Genetic-
modified organism.
Yes, and living modified organisms. Living modified organism means what? There are some living organisms, so which are modified, right? So how to modify in the living organism? Like we know that many people do some research and they try to what you can say make changes into the genetics. फिर उसकी वजह से कुछ accident भी होता है. Like you must have seen many Hollywood movies where that a scientist is trying to make changes in the genes of some animal, but it again results into something disaster, and again it becomes a very huge animal. That animal becomes what you can say a problem to the what you can say the people, right? You have seen that any movies? Anyone remember any such movie which is what you can say produced in Hollywood? Like while doing research कुछ हो जाता है और ऐसे कुछ animal बन जाता है. Like there are many such movies which are there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you can see that this is a treaty related to what you can say the movements of living modified organisms. So it may be animals or it may be plants as well, right? Because we have modified tomato, right? You know, like whatever tomatoes we are eating now, this is actually a modified organism. It is not the what you can say natural organism. You have made some changes into those what you can say the tomatoes, right? We have also modified the cotton. We have also modified the brinjal. We have also modified what you can say the various what you can say the food as well as non-food what you can say the crops. Many plants are what you can say being modified by the researchers. So this Cartagena Protocol is for the safety of those living modified organism, that is called as biosafety. Got it? What is the biosafety? Here, so you can see here they have shown a picture. Can you see this picture? Is it visible to all of you? That there is a strand of the DNA shown here. What
Yes, sir.
exactly that picture shows?
That the DNA is breaking. The structure is.
It is not breaking actually. They are removing that two particular genes
Okay.
and they are trying to modify it. Am I right? Can you see that there is a seizure which is trying to what you can say remove that particular strand, that particular what you can say the genes which is responsible for anything like there are various genes responsible for various what you can say the functions in a human body as well as in the plant. So some particular genes which are not what you can say useful for us, we are trying to remove it, and we will add some other genes also. That is what is called as modifying the living organisms, which are called as GMOs. That is genetically modified organisms, or also called as living modified organisms. So the Cartagena Protocol is related to the biosafety of those living modified organisms. Got it? So it is an international treaty resulting from the modern biotechnology from one country to another. Got it? So one second, I'm getting an important call. I have to receive it. Hello. Walaikum salam. Sorry. So what is this Cartagena Protocol? Cartagena Protocol is on the biosafety of those living modified organisms resulting from modern biotechnology from one country to another. So it is related to the movements of these living modified organisms. Movements like, so there is one company at the international level called as Monsanto, which is doing such modification to the crops, and they are trying to what you can say trade, or they are trying to move such living modified organism from one country to another country. So this Cartagena Protocol is related to that safety of those genetically modified organisms. Then Nagoya Protocol This is on access to genetic resources and fair and equitable sharing of the benefits arising from their utilization to the Convention on Biological Diversity. That is very important, right? So now we can see, do you know that in India we have HYVs, high yielding varieties of the wheats and rice.
Seeds. Yes, sir.
Yeah, high yielding varieties of the wheats and rices. So do you know for the first time where these high yielding varieties have been what you can say practically used in increasing the production? In which country it was started? Was it directly started in India?
No.
No, it was for the first time used in Mexico. Right, in Mexico, there is one person, anyone knows who have used this biotechnology to increase the production of the wheat in Mexico?
Dr. Norman Borlaug.
Yes, Dr. Norman Borlaug used the biotechnology to increase the production of the wheat. So obviously, that genetical information, which can be which can increase the production of certain what you can say the plants or certain crops or certain what you can say the animals, which will be useful for the or which will be beneficial for the human being. So Nagoya Protocol is for accessing that genetic resources, because every country should have access, right? Because now when on the one side when you are saying that that we should use the natural resources in a sustainable way, but suppose if we do not have that information, we do not have access to those genetic resources which can be useful for what you can say getting the what you can say getting the equitable what you can say the distribution of the natural resources, then can we have the sustainable development? We cannot have, right? Because we know that many things which are not being produced in India, there are many things which is not being produced what you can produced in the some developed countries or some developed countries and some what you can say developing countries. So all the countries should what we can say share that genetic information with each other, so that what I can say we can have a sustainable development, because sustainable development cannot be done by one particular country or one particular region. It is a global effort. It is a what I can say the international effort. So Nagoya Protocol is for that access to genetic resources and fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising for their utilization to the Convention on Biological Diversity. Because on one side, on Convention on Biological Diversity, you say that we need to preserve and conserve the biodiversity. But again, is it like by compromising the needs of the current generation, we should have the sustainable use of the what you can say use of the natural resources? Like sustainable डेवलपमेंट का मतलब क्या होता है? सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट मींस व्हाट? सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट मींस व्हाट? कि using the natural resources in a such a way that which will fulfill the needs of the current generation and which we can carry out into the next generation, right? But we know that if suppose in an effort to keep the natural resources or carry on the natural resources to the next generation, shall we compromise the needs of the current generation? करंट जनरेशन को भूखा रखकर हम आगे वाले जनरेशन को पास ऑन कर सकते हैं क्या? Is it possible?
No,
so for that what we need to do then, we need to what you can say we need to have what we need to fulfill the needs of the current generation, and that is only possible when we share the genetic resources from all over the world, from all over the globe, and that is what the Nagoya Protocols convention is all about. Got it? What is the difference between the Nagoya Protocol and the Cartagena Protocol? Cartagena Protocol is about the biosafety, and Nagoya Protocol is what you can say sharing and giving access to the genetic resources. Fine? चलिए. So this is the basic thing. इतना भी अगर आपको पता है तो चलता है. About these what you can say the this Convention on Biological Diversity. Many meetings have been what you can say held. That is COP1, COP2, COP3. So right now we have almost what you can say held total what you can say in 2018 it was a COP14. So COP14 is what? The conference of parties who are the signatories of this convention. All the countries come together twice what you can say like once in 2 years, and they agree on some what you can say the agreements, and then it carries on. Right? Any doubts about the CBD? समझ में आ रहा है सबको?
yes, sir.
Am I being too fast?
Sir. No, sir.
No, sir.
Fine. Vaibhav? Hello?
Yes, sir.
समझ में आ रहा है? Vaibhav, Aishwarya, Himakshi? All of you getting it? Fine. चलिए. Now going to the next topic. Next topic is that is 1 second. That was sustainable development, right? Yeah. First, we will discuss about the sustainable development goals, and then we will go to the Paris Agreement. Or what do you want to? Well, first we will discuss about the Paris Agreement, because Paris Agreement में ही sustainable development goals बनाए गए थे, new sustainable development goals. So first we will go about the Paris Climate Agreement. Like someone has asked me a question related to what is Paris Agreement, right? Zaim, I guess you have asked this question to me, right? So we will see what is this Paris Agreement. This Paris Agreement was held in 2015. उससे पहले भी कुछ एग्रीमेंट हुए थे रिलेटेड टू द क्लाइमेट चेंज. एक्चुअली पेरिस एग्रीमेंट वाज अ कन्वेंशन रिलेटेड टू द क्लाइमेट चेंज. अब हमने देखा है कि सिलेबस में 3 पॉइंट है. इन द एनवायरनमेंट का जो टॉपिक है उसमें 3 पॉइंट है सिलेबस में. क्या क्या है प्रीलिम्स में? व्हाट आर द दोस 3 पॉइंट्स इन द प्रीलिम्स सिलेबस? Anyone is having the syllabus with you? Actually, syllabus should be in your mind. There are 3 points in the syllabus. What are those? Yes, prelim syllabus. Chandrasekhar, do you have the syllabus with you? In prelims, what is the topic mentioned in the environmental, what you can say the topic? Yes, Rupal.
Ecology, biodiversity, and climate change.
Yes. So ecology means science of the ecosystem. And we have discussed about the science of the ecosystem, like what is ecosystem, how it function, what is significant, that we have discussed. Second is biodiversity. So biodiversity we have discussed, and we have also discussed about the various efforts which have been taken at the international level, national level, to conserve the biodiversity. That we have seen that at national level we have biosphere reserves, we have national parks, we have wildlife sanctuaries. There are certain laws, there are certain acts which are also passed, like Wildlife Protection Act we have seen, and we have also seen that there are certain international level what you can say the conventions related to the biodiversity. Now moving on to the next important topic, that is called as climate change. So in basic, we have already discussed about what is climate change, what is the reason for the climate change, that we have already discussed now, right? And what is the impact of the climate change, that also we have discussed. Now, what are the efforts being taken at the national level as well as the international level, that we are going to discuss about the climate change. So Paris Agreement is one such very, very important agreement which has been signed in 2015. But before that also, we know that before that also, there were some agreements signed for tackling the climate change problem at the international level. But Paris Agreement is one of the latest one. Before that, there were agreements like Kyoto Protocol, which was there. So Kyoto Protocol agreement has expired now. Expired means the duration or the tenure or the period of the Kyoto Protocol has been, or you can say, expired now. So after the Kyoto Protocol is the period of the Kyoto Protocol is over, a new agreement was signed in Paris in 2015, and that is famously called as Paris Agreement. Got it? So the Paris Agreement is an agreement with the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. So we have already discussed about it. What is this UNFCCC? It is a convention, or it is a framework convention regarding the climate change. So earlier conventions were related to biodiversity, but now this convention is related to climate change. So United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which is again a result of the Earth Summit, right? We have seen earlier that in 1992 Earth Summit was called. And why this Earth Summit is important? Because many international level conventions have been, what we can say, initiated as a result of that Earth Summit, whether it is related to biodiversity, whether it is related to climate change, or whether it is related to the pollution. Many important international level conventions or treaties have been initiated as a result of that Earth Summit, which was called in 1992 in Rio de Janeiro. So this UNFCCC is also a framework which has been formed out of this Rio de Janeiro. So as a part of that United Nations Framework Convention Climate Change, an agreement was signed in Paris dealing with the greenhouse gas emissions. This is very, very important, because we have seen that greenhouse gas emission is the most important contributor for the climate change or for the global warming, right? So this Paris Agreement deals with the greenhouse gas mitigation. Mitigation means, anyone knows what is the meaning of mitigation?
To reduce,
right? So this agreement was an international effort to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, because we know that greenhouse gas has been, what you can say, the increasing in last few years after the industrialization, and because of that there is a global warming. The global, what you can say, the atmospheric temperature or the temperature of the environment is increasing, and that is leading to they say that is leading to extinction of many plants and animal species. So this Paris Agreement deals with the greenhouse gas emission mitigation, then adaptation. We need to adopt some new technologies. That is also one of the important part of this agreement, and also the finance. So three important aspects of the Paris Agreement. One is to reduce the greenhouse gases. Second, to adopt a new technology or cleaner technology. That is what is mentioned here. And second is the finance, because if you want to adopt the clean technology, then obviously you need finance, because we know that many least developed countries and developed countries do not have the capacity to develop these what we can say the clean technology. So those efforts needs to be financed. Those efforts needs to be what you can say funded, and that is what is being done in Paris Agreement, right? So in Paris Agreement, all the countries have given some what you can say the voluntary or nationally determined target that we will be reducing this much amount of what you can say the greenhouse gas emission. We will what you can say try to adopt it, and we will contribute something at the international fund, which will be helpful in creating the new technologies and new what you can say the cleaner technologies, which may not be have any impact on the environment. Correct. So the agreement language was negotiated by representative of 196 state parties. There were 196 countries in this what you can say the agreement, and 21st conference of the parties in UNFCCC. So Le Bourget, that is near Paris, there is one place, that is France. So it was the 21st conference of parties, that is COP. Like in biological, in CBD also we have seen there are COP, but there we have around 14 COPs, but here it was the COP21. So Paris Agreement was a result of the COP21. COP21 means what? The conference of parties, that is 20